Prime Minister's Mann Ki Baat program was started on 3rd of October 2014 and since then it has been broadcast on last Sunday of every month on All India Radio and DD Network. The 30-minute program is completing its centenary episode on 30th April 2023. We have witnessed how through Mann Ki Baat, Prime Minister Modi reaches a vast spectrum of a socio-economically and culturally diverse populace through which he inspires and energizes them. And today to discuss on this in detail, we are joined by political analyst Mr. Sekhar Iyer. Welcome to the program, Mr. Iyer.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Iyer, to begin the discussion, I would like to share a survey that recently Prasar Bharati and IIM Rohtak conducted, in which they talked nearly 96% of population is aware of Mann Ki Baat program, and it has reached around 100 crore people with 23 crore regular or active listeners. So, Mr. Iyer, I want to understand from you how big and significant this program has been when you see its reach and impact.
Well, when it was launched by the Prime Minister on a Vijayadashami day, that is on October 3rd, 2014, within few months after he took over as Prime Minister, so it was not taken that this is going to become such a big exercise in a public conversation. And from what has happened in the last over several episodes, and after almost 9 years, what we are seeing is this has become one of the biggest conversational exercise in democracy in the world, one must say. Because the survey done by Prasar Bharati and the Indian Institute of Management of Rohtak has come out with some very interesting details. And also the fact that the persona of Prime Minister, as perceived by the people, by the general people, as well as by the listeners, the people who have been listening to him on over several issues, over several episodes, they have come to a conclusion that here is a person, here is our Prime Minister who is very purposeful, who is very powerful, who is very decisive, who is very strong in his intention, who is committed to the progress of this country. This impression, has come across very strongly to all the listeners, whoever has heard him, majority of them, in fact, all of them feel that through the conversations of Mann Ki Baat, they could sense the personality of the Prime Minister. The second aspect, is a very interesting aspect. On one hand, they see a strong personality, a well-intentioned Prime Minister, a decisive Prime Minister. A Prime Minister means what he says and does what he means. That is one side. The other side is, there is a compassionate side of the Prime Minister. There is a very, very, I would say, a human heart.
Yeah.
On the many of the issues, the way the Prime Minister responded, and the way the Prime Minister has given suggestions, the way the Prime Minister has called upon citizens, brings out that the kind side of the Prime Minister.
Absolutely. And to add in this, Mr. Iyer, you talked about the sympathetic approach that the Prime Minister had. And we have observed this in the choices of the subjects that he chose per se, and also the call of action that he has from the people. So how the PM includes all these subjects in the program, and how these particular changes help to make it a huge hit among the masses?
You see, in terms of themes, I believe there are at least 100 themes that have been dealt by the Prime Minister in all these years. And these 100 themes have included some of the very flagship programs of the government, whether it is Swachh Bharat, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, water conservation, vocal for global, promoting local products. There is the promotion of Khadi, then Indian toys, promoting Indian toys, and then about startups in health ventures, then about Ayush, programs. There are several things he has talked about. But what has happened is, after the subjects came up in Mann Ki Baat, there has been a quantum jump in the way the people have responded to some of these programs. For instance, I am told the Khadi sales have picked up over ever since the Prime Minister took it up in his Mann Ki Baat. And I believe the Khadi Industries Commission have done very well. In fact, their sales have gone up. They have made record profit in promoting Khadi products. That is one. Second is the Indian toys. Prime Minister called upon the people in one of his radio addresses where he said, look, why not let us promote Indian toys instead of imported toys? Why not our children get exposed to the beauty of our toys? There are several toys made in this country which are safe, environmentally safe, and safe for children also. So that has also seen a quantum jump in terms of sales, and that has encouraged the local industry, the handicraft industry. And similarly, there are other subjects, whatever he has taken up. Of course, the famous one is when he called for Amrit Sarovar, when he talked of water conservation, he wanted young people to, various villages to ponder, to look at their own villages and see how they can conserve water by improving the water bodies, by developing the water bodies. So there have been so many success stories where young people have come together and they have cleaned up that water bodies in their villages or in their panchayat. And when the rains came, the villages were blessed by, readily available storage of water. So this has been one of the great, impacts of subjects being taken up in Mann Ki Baat. And if you look at, I just spoke about the kinder side of the Prime Minister. I remember, whenever he used to talk about, the approaching summer season as we are facing now. It's hot all over the country. And particularly in many parts of north and even east, it is so hot that even animals and birds, they look for water to quench their thirst. So it was Prime Minister's appeal to each citizen, to all of us. Why not keep a bowl of water in your veranda or in your balcony so that the birds, when they can quench their thirst. Similarly for animals, why not leave some source of water on the road so that in such a way that, whether they are passing cattle or whether they are cats or dogs, for all of them. Now, to think of these animals and these birds, it brings out the kinder side of the Prime Minister. And definitely people have responded to this. People felt, yes, of course, many people already do these things, but more people joined in this effort to help one another, particularly in providing, safe drinking water, at least in these hot, scorching months. That's a very good example of how Mann Ki Baat has served to motivate people to think of solutions of very, very common problems.
So then, Mr. Iyer, can we say that with such a colossal impact, Mann Ki Baat can be termed and rightfully termed as a social revolution initiator?
Well, it is a social revolution of sorts because two things have happened. One is, the awareness of issues, awareness of problems. And the second part is, it has, inspired people. It has motivated people to take action. That's a very important side because in the survey that has come, the survey has found, the survey by Prasar Bharati and Institute of Management, Rohtak, they have found out that among the people who have heard, because you mentioned a figure in your opening remarks that 23 crore people have listened to it regularly and there are about 41 crore people who occasionally, switch on the radio or listen to this address. Now, of that, figures, if you see, at least 73% of our citizens, of our people, after listening to the Mann Ki Baat, they have felt very optimistic about their country, optimistic about their lives, and optimistic about the fact that India is definitely making progress in several fields and several sectors. This feeling, the mood of optimism, this feel-good factor has been generated after listening to the Prime Minister in Mann Ki Baat. This is very important. And the second thing is, what has also happened is, 63% also feel, their attitude towards the government. So normally, we are filled with lot of pessimism and skepticism. We are, Sarkar kya karegi, kuch nahi hoga. This mood has slowly abated. And in turn, trust has come. People feel, no, this problem will be solved. We'll definitely do something. Government is working at it and we must do our bit. This feeling has come. And of course, the most important result of Mann Ki Baat is 60% of people who have listened to this program have felt greatly motivated to do something and also to work for the government in some of these flagship programs. And they have written to the Prime Minister's office. After all, this Mann Ki Baat has had a two-way process. So many people have been writing letters to the Prime Minister's office, to the Prime Minister, giving suggestions for subjects to be taken up, highlighting some problems, giving their solution, and also explaining to the Prime Minister whatever they are doing in their respective field. That is why many unknown heroes, many unknown people who have achieved great things in their own way have been highlighted by the Prime Minister. Normally the Prime Minister even talks to them and their conversation is recorded and played in the Mann Ki Baat, which in turn has inspired, many others. Many young people who listen to it feel, oh, this has happened in such a faraway place and achieved by people with so little resources. That means I can also do it. This motivation, I think, is one of the biggest achievements of Mann Ki Baat. It was a thought process that was triggered by the Prime Minister. See, it was a conversational style, talking to people, talking individually, in a very, very conversational style. Prime Minister is to, face the facts, explain the issues, and put it in such a way even a very common person can understand. And the issues involved, the seriousness of some problems, what he or she in their limited capacity can do and contribute in a bigger way for this nation.
Absolutely. You very rightly said that program Mann Ki Baat inspired people to transform their ideas into their works and contribute to nation building. Thank you so much, Mr. Iyer, for joining us today on All India Radio.
Thank you. Thank you very much.